All right, this is the five from Foxboro following a season-opening 27-20 Patriots win over the Houston Texans at Gillette Stadium. Evan, want to start with Rob Gronkowski. 6 catches, 7 targets, 125 yards, and a touchdown. He was as dominant as Tom Brady really needed him to be.
Yeah, I thought that Gronk was the best player on the field for either team today. I know he had the fumble, but just the physical dominance of some of the catches that he had out here, the back shoulder throw on the touchdown, the body control, and the ability to box the defenders out was just spectacular. Then he obviously had that catch up the seam that you talked to him about where he went up and over 2 defenders. Just from a physical standpoint, there's a lot of really good physical players on both sides of the football. I really thought that Gronk was best in show here today.
What about Philip Dorsett? He actually led the Patriots with 7 catches, and we wondered in the preseason whether or not Philip Dorsett could really step up to the challenge of filling Julian Edelman's shoes during this 4-game suspension. At least for one game, he definitely answered the bell.
Yeah, I think the 2 things that stood out for me with him were, one, his timing with Tom Brady is immeasurably better than it was last season. I mean, just it's night and day from what we saw last season. The other thing is that, you know, last year his timing and his route running and his route detail wasn't quite as good as we saw out here today. He told me in the locker room that that's something that he's really focused on this offseason, that the Patriots coaches have really put an onus on him to become a better route runner, and I thought today he pretty much delivered that.
Really, the best example I thought at the end of the first half, 3 consecutive targets for Philip Dorsett, burning Kevin Johnson right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the touchdown that he caught from Tom Brady, little inside fake juke, and then went out to the sideline. Really nice route. You know, that's not something that we really see from Philip Dorsett too often. Then he had the one on the sideline where he dove after the ball in that sequence that you're talking about. I mean, just some little things like that I just thought were greatly improved from Dorsett from a year ago.
We thought coming into the game the defensive front would have to have a great game, contain Deshaun Watson. Certainly for most of this game, I'd say the first 3.5 quarters, they did exactly that. Certainly Dietrich Wise and also Trey Flowers in his first action of 2018, they really contained Deshaun Watson and got pressure on him.
Yeah, from what I understood, from watching the game and then talking to the guys afterwards, it seemed like the strategy was for the edge guys to get upfield a little bit and kind of push Deshaun up in the pocket and then have the big guys in the middle just hold their ground and not let him escape up the middle and in between the guards. They thought they did a really good job of doing that. Trey Flowers told me that the game plan was not different from last year. He was adamant about that. I really pushed him on it, and he was like, no, I swear to God, we didn't change anything. And he was like, the only thing that we did was we executed better. They had some really nice inside pass rush moves, power pass rush moves on the edge where they're using their inside hand, independent hand usage to get around the edge and bend around the edge. I thought that was really good today too. So maybe some Joe Kim effect there, maybe a little bit with the hand usage. So overall, just a much better pass rush, which I think was what we were expecting, a little bit more improvement from there with what we saw.
4th point would be the secondary. I actually thought they played very, very well in conjunction with the defensive front, putting pressure on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Stephon Gilmore, you thought, had an outstanding game, especially in the first half, and Eric Rowe, the secondary, very good. Why?
Communication. I thought that was the number one thing. I asked Ron Harmon after the game how he felt the communication went. He said it was much better than this time last year. I think we could see it. The Texans really studied up on the Patriots' defense, and they found out that last year they struggled with those bunch sets and stacked formations, and they really threw a lot of those at the Patriots today. And the Patriots' communication in the secondary was much improved, and they were able to kind of stay on the game with those, and they didn't really screw up any. Ron Harmon just said point blank, it was great to see nobody running free. Remember that Carolina game last year where they threw those stacks at them and there was just guys running free all over the field? Today it wasn't like that. Much better communication in the secondary. Ron Harmon, Stephon Gilmore bracketing DeAndre Hopkins most of the day together, and that communication was much improved. So overall, I think that from this defense, we saw the pass rush much better. Maybe a little bit added talent in that pass rush helps with guys like Adrian Clayborn now in the mix. And the second thing absolutely was the communication in the secondary.
First 4 points are positives. The 5th, not so much. Special teams, save for the block by the now injured Jeremy Hill in this game. They had a lot of issues on special teams, and everybody's going to point to the Riley McCarron muff in the 4th quarter. Everybody's going to think back to Chris Harper, and that's how they lost the 11th game of that 2015 season. What needs to be done to correct the issues on special teams?
Well, actually, the fumble from Riley McCarron is going to be talked about a lot because it really set up the Texans to kind of have a little bit of a comeback at the end of the game. But I thought the kick coverage was even worse. So Patriots are typically one of the best teams in the league at covering kicks on kickoffs. Today, Tyler Irving, the kick returner for the Texans, averaged over 30 yards per kick return. Had a really good game, something that the Patriots are very, very good at. He had the longest kick return that the Patriots have allowed since the 2016 season today. It was only 36 yards. It wasn't like he broke off, a 70-yarder, but still the average was really every single kick return he was rattling off. He was getting them past the 30-yard line. So I think that that's something that when they watch the tape back, the coaching staff is really going to, Bill Belichick, we know how he loves his special teams, is really going to focus on how that they struggled in that area.
Indeed, Bill Belichick after the game said, there's always things to work on, and I'm sure one of the first things he's going to look at when he turns on the film machine is the special teams. Patriots survive this one, 27-20 over the Houston Texans. They win the 2018 season opener. We'll have you covered, of course, on CLNS Media and on Twitter at Patriots CLNS. He's Evan Lazar. I'm Mike Petralia inside Gillette Stadium, CLNS Media.